Welcome to Surviving Mars Below and Beyond. This game I've played probably 500 hours worth, but I just noticed there's a whole bunch of DLC and a bunch of other late breaking fixes that I haven't played. So half of this will be me just playing through a game I've played before, and then the other half will be me playing a game I've never played before. So I thought it would be interesting. Plus, I just really want to play this game again. We're going to pick our sponsor. We always love to be Church of the New Ark. Basically, we get, it's hard difficulty, low funding. We only get one rocket. It shows 2 rockets because we're under rocket scientist right now. Starting applicants about right. No research per day. That's a huge one. And our metals price is only 20 million. So we're going to probably not try to sell a bunch of stuff. And then my thought is ecologist. And there's a strategy behind that. So we're at 280% difficulty. Moving forward, we're just going to take what they give us to start with. No need to make any changes here. We're going to pick our landing spot. And there are a lot of landing spots, and you can see the difficulty is all over the place. 470 is enough. 340 is enough for me. I haven't played in years and years, so we're going to stick with this. It's one of the standard spots. Well, technically they're all standard spots, but since they're not randomized, a lot of the features are randomized, like what technologies you get, what order they appear, what breakthroughs you get, what order they appear. But the tiles themselves are the same for every map. So I played this one before.
Welcome to Mars.
Maybe this will give us a chance to have some success here. All right. First thing we're going to do, obviously, is pause. We've come with an orbital scanner. We can scan anywhere we want. This is the only tile that they've revealed for us. Probably makes sense to start somewhere around this area. .99% buildable. So yeah, let's scan this. Okay, nothing of interest, but the fact that there's nothing of interest is interesting. Let's land kind of here. The internal gray zone is where the dust will get kicked up when we take off. And then the outer zone is the control radius for the drones. The ship itself acts as a drone hub. See all that dust? If dust gets on your machines, they require additional upkeep, and upkeep costs resources. So it's better to keep things away from the dust. All right, we'll set this up right here. Yeah, we'll set it up right there. But the key is that we'll put the power on this side. Okay. And then we'll put some plumbing on this side. So we're just going to give ourselves a wet wall that also happens to be hot, which I don't typically suggest in real life, but in this case it allows us to use the resources of the pipes and wires for multiple buildings. And this evaporator is going to get us our water, but let's scrape the Mars for concrete. Just making sure that we're in range, and we are. Maybe I should do it closer. A little further back. Okay. There we go. Let's let that run a little bit while we're thinking about it. Let's also put in... Well, how much power does this thing take? I was gonna try to save this. But that almost makes no sense to try to save this. Unless it works. Then it's a genius play. Let's arc ourselves some more resources. So we're gonna go back, supply pod ourselves. Costs 100 million to do this. Let's just make it all polys. Launch. We're going to put some storage down over here. This one's going to be a little of everything, but not fuel. And let's demand 20 of everything. And then we're also going to put down a depot for concrete, just so it's easy for this guy to have somewhere to drop this stuff off. And then we're also going to put down a storage for metal. Just metal. I want to use this auto thing to get everything in that zone and drop it over here. Then let's get out of that. Thank you. And I think we need just a little bit of power. If you overbuild, then you'll run out of everything because the resource requirements to keep things maintained are ridiculous. And maybe we'll put down 2 wind turbines. Two for solar, 2 for wind, 2 for storage. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what we're doing. Primary way to get score is through doing these various tasks first. There are other colonies from other sponsors, so they can also do those tasks. Speaking of which, let's send ourselves a RC Explorer. Launch that. Gather a little bit of water. Put down a water tank to go with it. And then we need to generate some fuel. So let's get fuel. Where are you? Fuel refinery. Let's check our, even though we're not generating research, let's see what we have at our disposal. Yep. Rockets and shuttles requires less fuel. Definitely our top priority. Sensors no longer requiring power or maintenance. Sounds good. Faster drones and rovers. Okay. Engineers and geologists have 10 per... Yeah, I think that's about where we're stopped. What milestone did they do? Oh, they're nearing a milestone. All right, a new deep scan telescope will be launched to scan the cosmos from a point even further out than Mars. The company behind the telescope, Lambda Industries, has partnered with our sponsor to share the financial burden of a deep space launch. Our sponsor, not wanting to waste the opportunity to help the most ambitious project they have, say that splitting the launch bill will basically pay for a single supply pod they can fill with cargo of our choosing. Okay, 10 orbital probes is actually not bad, but 15 parts and 15 electronics is so OP that there really isn't another option on here. Another RC transport is also pretty good. These are all really good actually, but I think I have to go with the parts.
Resources are low.
I'm trying to save that Stirling generator. I want to run it indoors.
Anomaly analyzed. Milestone achieved.
Which gives us research, by the way. Not enough to complete our task, but research nonetheless. couple of fuel depots right next to the launch pads. Setting up the rover to pick up some more stuff. Maybe we put one depot right next to the fuel. Just so if there's ever a need to move quickly, there's always room to drop it off. Let's supply ourselves with a prefab building for a little bit more moisture. Just enough, maybe, to run a dome and a farm. Or maybe just enough to run a dome and some food. There we go.
Sector scanned.
Keys will unlock, right? So if you get a key, it unlocks all these question marks. Well, it unlocks the question marks, not all of them obviously, but it unlocks the question marks. Let's outsource 1,000 research. It's expensive, but we don't have a ton of science on our side right now. I might be able to fit 2 domes in here.
Anomaly analyzed.
$100 per soul per RC Explorer, and that's going to cost us $1,500. That and this, these are the 2 I really want. The other one's apartments, which just allows us to have lots of people. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the Church of Newark has a supply pod that can carry passengers, which is nice. Service Spire, which is just a building in the middle. We'll get to it. All colonists have a religious trait. Birth rate is doubled. That's where I normally get in trouble. They found water first. It's fine. Just leave a little space for things to go in and out. Speaking of which, is there anything we need to pick up? Some metal out here somewhere we can deal with. Let's grab that. First dome gives us 500 science. Oof, we're just under. We need a little bit more. So we're about 1 day away from getting that, and then we can launch this, which will give us 250 more. Fingers crossed.
Meteor incoming.
Really? A little early to be threatening me with meteors. All right, well, we've cleaned the surface of Mars with all reasonable resources. These last 3 drones will finish it up, so nothing else that we can really grab from the surface. Let's finish this dome. And let's immediately turn it off so we don't spend any resources on it. And let's build some O2 facilities. Like a Moxie. And then a couple of storage tanks.
Research complete. Milestone achieved.
So that gave us this, which allowed us to cut the require for fueling from 50 to 30. And
Resources are low.
Launching. Just checking to make sure all of our drones are reasonably good. We monitor this trip back to Earth. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to presume that we're going to have another dome right here. Somewhere on this. So we'll leave a space right there to connect it with a passage. But now we're going to drop in this power, this Stirling generator.
Sector scanning.
Drop that right there. I know, it's yelling at us for power. We've got a plan. And since this is inside, we can open this and get 20 power instead of 10. So that dramatically increases the base load of our colony. Now our solar power should kick in. Ooh, that is not a huge amount. Wait a minute. Is this helping us? Oh, it's definitely helping. Turn it back on. All right, now that's some good power. And it's charging. And most of it is base, right? So we get 20 base all the time, no matter what. And it can't get dusty because it's indoors. Then we've got lots of wind. It's variable, but it works at night. And we've got this, which is high powered, but only works during the day. 2 storage, which might not be enough, but we'll find out here in a minute. Now, what are we researching? It might be time to go ahead and bring in the people. But first, let's put in some services. We need visitors will recover health as long as they're not starving, dehydrated, freezing, or suffocating. I mean, it seems like a medical post is just as good, just services fewer people. So I think I'm going to go with the small medical post. And we're going to put that right here. And then we're going to put in a grocer. No, we're going to put in a small grocer. And then we're going to put in a art store and an electronics store. It's an amazing start. But before that, let's make sure we get our spire in. Hanging Gardens, a beautiful park complex, increases the comfort of all residents in the dome. Services, relaxation, exercise, playing, and social. It's an amazing building, but it costs 2 water to run it. So this one is basically supporting our fuel refinery. This one is basically supporting the dome itself, right? Because it takes 1 water to run the dome. We don't have a ton of water stored. We'll hold off on the Hanging Gardens. Or we'll ship in another. If we ship in one more, that means we'll be at a deficit. We're at a deficit of 1 water. But if we ship it now, we can increase the storage amount. We've got sponsor-based milestones. This is going to be tough. I want an apartment, but I think we're gonna have to go with just the regular house. Living complex, enough space for 14 people. We've got enough fuel for another trip back, so we're going to start storing fuel directly. Or storing water, turning off this fuel generator. 1 to run the dome. Technically, we don't have to run the dome right now. We could turn this off as well if we really wanted to juice the storage. We put moisture evaporators too close together, they start to get inefficient. So I always just make sure that they don't touch. Though I think, yeah, nearby. Okay. On the line is good to go then. I'll take them at their word.
Sector scanned.
Speaking of sector scanning, let's put in 2 scanning towers. There's 26 resources on the ground out here. Kind of tough for me to see it at night. Oh, good point. We need storage for this rock waste. Okay, I think that's about right. That's probably a good stopping point. We are ready to receive people. Lambda Industries Deep Space Telescope is performing as planned. What isn't performing as well is the data analysis. The amount of information the telescope is sending towards Earth is mind-boggling in there, and they have issues processing all of it. Lambda has officially extending a request for help with some of the data analysis. Research the analyzed space telescope data to continue. So it's a special breakthrough they want us to execute. We need research for our own project, really, but we'll start that. Look at these milestones. First human on Mars. We'll execute that. We should also be able to execute that. This one is a little bit more questionable. I'll get into why in the next episode. Thanks for hanging out. Small beginnings. We'll see you next time.